Hi, I'm Christina Elston, editor of LA Parent, and we are at one of my favorite spots in Santa Monica, Gourmandise School of Sweets and Savories at Santa Monica Place. And today, chef and proprietor Clemence Gossett is going to help us with some weeknight cooking. But first, tell us a little bit about the school.
Hi, so welcome. We are a cooking school, but we're a recreational cooking school here in Santa Monica. And we teach 3 to 4 hour classes on Thai cooking and chocolate making, or how to cook meals, in under 30 minutes.
That sounds great. What are we going to cook today?
So today we're going to cook 1 whole roasted chicken, and we're going to fill the pot with lots of different ingredients that we're going to use to make 4 different dishes. So we're going to be making a whole roasted chicken with potatoes and chickpeas and lemon and garlic, but we're going to use that to make a fennel and chicken salad. We're going to make chicken soup out of the same pot. We're going to make a breakfast potato hash, and we're going to make a risotto with a leftover stock.
Yum, and you could sort of roast the chicken on the weekend and then carry you through a lot of the week.
Absolutely, and it's also a way to keep all your protein purchases down. So I like to use as many fruits and vegetables and legumes as possible and save sort of my bulk cost for proteins for high quality proteins. So I want to buy a free range chicken, but I want to make it last 4 days. So, and I also like to cut down on time. So it's nice on a Sunday to roast a whole chicken, not have to think about the fact that it takes about an hour to roast. You can do other stuff while that's happening, and then just get one of your kids to help you shred that chicken and turn it into a salad or help you make soup later in the week.
Sounds great.
You ready?
Yes.
Okay, great. Awesome. So our first step is to cut some potatoes. I'm going to put them at the bottom of the pot here. So I'm going to go get us a cutting board and some olive oil. The trick is whenever you're cooking vegetables underneath the chicken is to make sure you season the vegetables. So you don't want to pick up the vegetables and have them taste a little bit bland. So we're going to be chopping up our potatoes and then tossing them with some olive oil. We can do a red onion in there as well, salt and pepper, and then we'll figure out the chicken part right on top.
Okay.
So these are Magic Myrna potatoes, but you can use any potato you can find at the store. You can even do this with sweet potatoes. But these potatoes are a hybrid and they're grown by Alex Weiser out in Tehachapi. When it comes to root vegetables, I have a really strong opinion about peeling versus not peeling, and that's that most of the nutrients are found right underneath the skin of your carrots and your potatoes, so try to avoid peeling them. One, it makes them really mushy, so if you're going to peel your potatoes and cook them under your chicken, you're going to end up with mush. So the fiber really helps it to stay intact, but you're also losing nutrients when you peel them. So we're going to dice these. We want them to be about the same size, but they're not all super even. So I'm going to cut them lengthwise first in half and then across. We can dump them in. So we can do that together. Onion lesson 101. As often as possible when you're cutting an onion, try to cut from end to end and not across the equator. A couple reasons. One is when you want to do a fine dice or a slice, you want to keep one end intact. Yeah, so then it's not moving around so much. And then you're going to flatten it, just cut one end off. Pull back the top layer there. And then I just want some thin slices here. We're not going to have them caramelized because there's going to be plenty of moisture in the pan, but we do want them to break down. I'm just going to toss those right over the potatoes. So we're going to toss this all together. It's not hot yet, so we can do this with our hands. And I'm going to make sort of a little groove here to fit the chicken.
Oh, like a nest.
Like a nest. Yeah. Ideally, you want the chicken to cook evenly and the potatoes as well. So if everything is sort of concentrated in the center, you're going to get really uneven cooking in your chicken. So I like to make just a little hole here. I also don't want the top of the chicken to touch the lid, because then the skin, which I really like to get nice and crisp, will stick to the lid of your pot. So you want to fill this with as much as possible.
And what size?
Dutch oven. So this is a 6-quart Dutch oven. Yeah, we love these large Dutch ovens. One, because they're less than $100. And 2, their lids here are oven safe. So some of the other brands you buy, you have to buy their other lid. Yeah. And this Dutch oven, this is what I use. This and my cast iron pan, I have a 16-inch at home, are what I do most of my cooking in. So I do my jams in here. I make my beans in this pot, soup, roasted chicken. So it's the most utilized pot in our kitchen. And it's great, it lasts forever. And it's lined on the inside, so it's non-reactive, so you could do your tomato sauce in here.
That's really
Or your
nice.
jam. All right, so we're gonna add a good, healthy amount of olive oil. And then we need to season it with salt and pepper. So I'm gonna let you do that.
Okay.
Great. Wonderful. Brilliant. So now we're gonna take care of our chicken. And I actually like to handle the chicken in the pot so that you don't end up having a whole lot all over the kitchen counter. Exactly. So you're gonna pick up this chicken with a wrapper and put it right over.
Just put it in there.
One key thing to remember is that it is incredibly unsafe to rinse your chicken. So you can pat your chicken dry if you want, especially if you're gonna fry it and you want that really crispy skin. But you want to avoid putting your raw chicken anywhere near your sink. Yeah. So you don't want to add more moisture to your chicken. That's when bacteria gets really excited and has a field day. So, and you don't want any of that to get into your sink anyway.
Okay.
So drop it right on top.
Okay.
And we're gonna pierce it and open up the plastic.
Okay.
I'll give you this little knife here. Just get rid of that.
Okay, here we go.
And what I like about Mary's chicken is they take the giblets and they put them in a little bag, and the little bag is attached to the plastic.
You know which way we need to go with this.
I do. So I'm going to open it now that you've done that.
Okay.
And here we are.
There it is. Oh, right on top.
Well, this is on top to absorb moisture, but over here, it's not done with this one. Usually they're attached, and so when you lift it, you don't have to reach down so far in the cavity. Yeah.
And let's dig them out.
Right, which is not that fun.
No.
So if you've got a dog at home, that is the best dog treat ever. So I'm going to take this out now, and if you could pull out the trash bin real quick, it's right under you.
Oh.
Yeah, and we can dump that right in. And we've avoided getting chicken juices all over our counter.
That's good.
Okay, so now we're going to fill the cavity with some quartered lemons and some chickpeas. And then I'm going to salt and pepper the chickpeas here. There we go. And I'm going to take some garlic here and peel it. So I know there's all sorts of like YouTube tricks for how to peel garlic. For me, the go-to way is to just cut the garlic on each end here, peel it back like this.
So you just cut the ends off.
Just cut the ends off, and the paper comes right off, as long as your hands aren't all slippery like mine are. Yeah, then you don't have to do the two-bowl trick, and the cacophony of that is just not worth it. So just cut each end off the garlic clove. There we are. So we'll drop those in too. So it's quartered. Great. Stuff the lemon in first.
Okay. Any particular angle or?
Nope.
No.
Throw it in there. We're going to pack it in as tight as we can. And you can use a can of chickpeas or garbanzo beans. They're the same thing. Or you can cook them down yourself. So I usually let them soak overnight, and then it takes about an hour on the stove top to cook them through. And I do it all in a Dutch oven. All right, so we're going to put the garlic cloves in here. And now we're going to take our chickpeas. All right. You can help me do that. And we're just going to stuff the bird. That way we've got chickpeas that are like seasoned and cooked in all this lovely chicken juice to add to our chicken and fennel salad later. So we're going to take this now.
Do you lace it?
I don't lace it. I don't. I just kind of cover it as best I can like this. And now we need to get to the part that's going to make our chicken, and I cook it breast side down. Because we're keeping this lid closed for a really long time. Like 3/4 of the cooking process is going to be covered. And so I'm not worried about the breast drying out, but I do want it to collect juices.
And the juices will run down into the breast, right?
That's correct. Yeah, well, and they're also going to recirculate.
Okay.
All right, so now, I'm gonna nestle this in here nice and tight. Good. And now we're going to add our butter. So there's a really important ingredient that helps chicken stay nice and crisp and brown, and that's butter. So you don't get caramelization from vegetable oils. You get that from the reaction of amino acids in butter. So you can rub the butter on, but if your chicken is cold, the butter is just not going to stay on. So I like to melt the butter, season it with some thyme and some salt and pepper, and then just pour that over.
Oh, okay.
So
and that's easier anyway.
It's a lot easier. 100%. So go ahead and put that in there. I also like steps that make it really easy to involve kids, right? So you can ask your kid, like, throw it in.
With the stems?
Yep, with the stems. You can ask your child like no yes or no questions, right? So when you want them to expand their horizons, you want to avoid saying, do you want this? Instead, you're going to say, like, what herb do you want to add to your butter to put on the chicken? So they can pick rosemary, they can pick thyme, they can kind of go crazy and maybe put tarragon in or whatever. But you definitely want them involved in the process, and they're more likely to eat whatever it is that you're making. So go ahead and add some salt and pepper to that. Thank you. Awesome. Yeah, great. And with the thyme as well. So you're going to pour that over the chicken. Brilliant. Awesome. See how it sets up almost immediately because the chicken's cold?
Because the chicken's cold,
Yeah.
so it's like glazing this chicken with butter.
Yeah.
You can't do better than that.
You really can't. You can't do better than that? What? Okay, great. And now we're going to season it really, really generously with salt and pepper. So I'm going to let you finish doing that.
It's amazing what salt does for things. And I know people talk about, oh, you shouldn't have too much salt. You shouldn't. But most of that comes from packaged
Processed foods. That's correct.
and not from cooking in the kitchen or even salting at the table.
Agreed.
Most of the salt is in those packages.
I'm actually glad you brought up salt because the way you buy your chicken is really handy. Make sure you're not buying a chicken that's been brined because we pay per pound for chicken, right? So if you're buying a chicken that's in brine or that's been brined, you're essentially paying a percentage of that in salt and water. So try to buy like an air chilled chicken. We use Mary's exclusively here. So just buy a chicken that's not been previously frozen. That way, if you don't use all of it, you can refreeze it. And make sure it's not a brined chicken. So now we're going to put this in the oven for about 50 minutes. And then we're going to lift the lid off for about 10 minutes so it can brown really well. Yeah. But the only other way that I'll cook a chicken or a turkey is to spatchcock it. So when I don't have an hour to cook it like this, I'll just go to the butcher counter. Even if it's a packaged chicken, you can ask them to spatchcock it. So, they break the breast in half and then spread it. And then you can put your vegetables down on the cookie sheet and then put your chicken. It's basically sitting like this. And the entire thing gets crisped. So
it's
here,
the same
thickness throughout, and all the skin is exposed. So you get like nice crispy skin on each piece. So we're gonna put this in our Magic of TV oven. Put this chicken here. It's been cooling for a little bit. Look at that, yeah. So we're gonna drop the chickpeas.
Just pour them right out of the chicken.
Yep. Got some nice roasted garlic in there. All right, there we are.